Hello, my friends. How are you? It's Joanna Makris with you, your performance and self-leadership coach. And today, we will be talking about the new year. Yes, the new year. Are you all excited about it? Have you made arrangements for your New Year's Eve? Are you preparing for this celebration time of the year? New Year's Eve and the 1st of January. So much time, energy, and effort in these post-Christmas, pre-New Year days, right? It's usually this time of the year that you've either taken some time off and you're now relaxing somewhere and enjoying your free time. Oh, sounds so nice. Or you're fully immersed in busyness, sorting things out that you didn't have time to complete during the year, so you can start fresh in January. Or maybe you might be spending time meeting with friends, socializing, getting in touch with some people you hadn't reached out for long, and bringing alive this togetherness feeling inside you. Well, wherever you are, whatever you are at, it's only a few days before year end and the sound of the countdown. 3, 2, 1, Happy New Year! And then you wake up next morning and it's January 1st, the first day of the year. And from holiday mode, you switch to go mode. You start thinking, what can I do in the new year to make it different, better, happier? It is then that we come up with our New Year's resolutions, right? We start promising to ourselves and sometimes to others too. We do it privately or declare it publicly. Oh, I will stop doing this. And I'll start doing that. And we get all excited about what the new year will be all about. So we go even beyond resolutions sometimes. We get serious about setting some goals for the new year. And all this is great. It's truly so great. We have something to look forward, right? You feel excited and energized. You've decided and you've declared. 2 so important steps into moving forward and bringing positive change into your life. But I hear you say, wait a minute, I did this last year too, and it didn't work. I promised myself I would, well, you fill in the blank, and it didn't happen. I feel for you. I've been there. Disappointment and frustration. In fact, only 46% of those who make New Year's resolutions successfully keep them after 6 months. And 2 out of 3 people who set goals fail to achieve them. Discouraging, right? But why? Why is this happening? What went wrong even though you were so determined? Well, to be honest, a number of things could have gone wrong. From the plan you set, or the lack of it, to what you decided you wanted, the goal itself. The common denominator being, however, for this not going your way, that it could be your starting point. A starting point that needed to be clearly defined prior to setting off for your new year. You heard me right, your starting point. Where you started off this time last year so you could best prepare for the year ahead, your next 365 days. What happened that shaped you, what was intentional, and what you could change if you could have a magic wand and do a makeover. All this critical information and experiences forming the basis of your starting point and your plans ahead. Just like when you are in a shopping mall trying to find your favorite shop and you go to this big map in the center, you know how it looks like, with a big, usually red arrow saying you are here to help you map out your way to the shop you wanted to visit. So today we will be looking at where we are today, the you are here sign, your new starting point, so you can best prepare yourself before going into promise and action mode. Today, I will be sharing with you 3 ways that can help you look backward to move forward. Look back into your journey this past year so you can better map out your new journey ahead and bring that change, that positive change in your life you are so much hoping for. But wait, what? Looking backward? You've told us so many times not to look in the past. Well, yes, sort of. You see, it's a different thing to look back and a totally different thing to get caught into that space, rent space in it. So today we will be retrieving information from the past so you can then use it to move into the future by working on it in the present. Fair enough? So let's see. How can you retrieve this information? Well, do you ever watch movies based on real stories? What do they say in the beginning of the movie? This is based on the true story of XYZ, which happened in the 1900s or the 1800s. So start thinking of your past year like you are watching a film about it. Your, let's say, 365-day journey film. Now, I know this feels awkward. I've been through this myself and didn't know where to start. Well, a great way to start is by going back to the most outstanding events you can remember of during this past year. Something that created either a big pain or a big pleasure. You see, we tend to remember this sort of shocking events easier than others. In fact, according to the Johns Hopkins Medical Institution, both extensive psychological research and personal experiences confirm that events that happen during heightened states of emotion, such as fear, anger, and joy, are far more memorable than less dramatic occurrences. So, if you can only remember 2 or 3 events, this is totally normal. This is what stands out in your memory. In fact, if you ask me what I mostly remember of in this year, it's my delicate and serious surgery I went through to remove a non-malignant, thank God, tumor from the lower part of my right arm. And I will forever be grateful to my doctor and his team for successfully removing this little monster of mine without disabling my arm. Now, why do I remember this? Not because of the physical pain, which was considerable, but mostly because of the risk I was faced when I found out that this tumor was attached to the nerves and muscles of my arm and could either not be removed or, if removed, possibly leave me with a dysfunctional arm. My right arm, the one I write with, something so vital to me. So this possibility was not only registered in my memory, it was sort of marked with a highlighter in my memory. That's why I could recall it immediately. Now, in absence of a shocking event like this, a crisis, a life-changing transition, a loss of a loved one, which I pray is not the case for you, something else that easily surfaces our memory is the recent past. What happened to us recently? Let's say over the past weeks. You see, our brains are designed in such a magnificent way that different parts of it handle different types of memory. And don't worry, I will not go into scientific details about it, but it's so much easier to remember a few weeks back compared to trying to remember what took place in the first 2 months of the year, right? Again, thinking of what popped up in my mind as soon as I looked back and after I thought of my surgery was my recent business trip to the US. Now, why did it come up? First of all, because it was really fresh, only a few weeks ago. But it also came up because it was associated with strong emotions. It was registered in my memory as a big stretch, totally out of my comfort zone and with huge anticipation and excitement. So you see, again, Even a recent event will trigger the pain or pleasure associated with it and surface in our memory. But let's go back to your own personal story in the past year. You remembered, as I did, probably 2 or 3 events that stood out, right? But it looks like a short film, doesn't it? A very short film for a 365-day journey, right? So now what? How can you retrieve more information to add to your story? Well, let me help you on this. There are 2 other ways which are great sources of memory. The ones based on physical evidence. Both help you access what is there, but it's archived a bit further back in your memory filing system. Things that happened, but you need some clues or triggers to retrieve them. The first physical evidence source is your photos. What better place than your photos? Nowadays, it's living in our smartphones. Statistics show that on average, people around the world look at their cell phones 58 times a day. 58 times. Okay, this is the world average, and you might not be looking at your phone so often, but still, I bet you've captured moments of your life in there. Moments with friends and family, moments in the nature, a sunrise, a sunset, vacation time, trips, or cooking, or maybe selfies, all sorts of parts of your life. So just looking back at these photos will trigger memories and emotions strong enough to help you now recall your past year and connect the dots. Just like finding the missing pieces of a puzzle, and now placing them all together to create the final picture. Actually, this is what doctors help patients with loss of memory do. Besides medication or wired machine equipment connected to their brain to recover for memory loss, they bring photos of the past in front of the patient so he or she can start remembering things. Another thing they do is they bring items from the patient's home so they can see and touch them. They also walk them through the physical environment they used to live or work in. And you can do the same. Not as a patient, of course, but as a curious observer of your past, which takes us to this other source of physical evidence, the third way you can retrieve information, which is your everyday surroundings. Did you change home? Did you redecorate or move furniture from one place to another in your existing home? Did you renovate part of it? What about your personal belongings, your clothes, something new? Something you changed in your style, maybe even a new haircut or color. Maybe you grew a beard. Or what about people? Did new people become part of your life? Who showed up mostly? Where did you go most often? If you're like me, you can even go back to last year's calendar and find evidence of it there too. Where you went, with whom you were, and how you spent or invested your time. Is there evidence of new skills you acquired, education, or relationships that you brought into your life? All this is about connecting the dots from where you started off this past year and where you are ending now. All this physical and non-physical evidence will help you retrieve information from your past year's experiences. Now, you're ready to use this information in your present, so you can better prepare to plan for your future. So, besides reliving your past, good or bad, it's there. It's yours. It has shaped you into who you are today, intentionally or by circumstances. But you can always start acting in the present, here and now. You can take a piece of paper or your favorite journal and start making some notes. And you know how I am all about pen and paper. Don't only think. Ink the think. Write it down. It's this neural connection between brain and hand that studies show how important it is when we want to bring in things to our conscious awareness and work on them, as well as when we want to imprint information into our subconscious mind to make it work for us. So define your starting point with boldness and clarity. Act in the present and start asking yourself, as I was watching my 365-day journey film, remembering what stood out, looking at my photos and observing my everyday surroundings, what did I like? What didn't I like? What did I love? What would I do differently? Which habits and behaviors would I change? Who would I include in my life? Who would I stop inviting in my life? Which thoughts and beliefs would I continue entertaining? Which would I replace with new ones? These are just a few questions to start with, just to get your thinking going, so you can best prepare towards choosing your New Year's resolutions, setting those goals of yours and planning ahead so you can bring meaningful, positive change in your life, personally and professionally. So look backward to move forward. I wish you a happy, exciting, creative year ahead. A journey to be remembered this time next year for the fulfillment and inner peace you intentionally decided to bring into your life today. See you again in the new year. And don't forget, if you like this or know someone that would benefit from it, like it, share it, save it. Bye-bye for now.